What's up everyone, it's your girl Shay here. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. As you can see by the title of this video, I'm going to be talking about, well, this thing again, which is the BT21 Tamagotchi. I know I talked about it in a previous video, which was like my first hand kind of review about it, where I kind of showed you guys like the buttons and what you can pretty much do about it. And at that point, I had had the Tamagotchi for pretty much about a week at that point, and there were still some unanswered questions that I honestly didn't know how to answer at that time. But now that I've played with it now for over a month now, I feel like I can answer a little bit more of those questions that I feel like arose or arise during my first review of this actual product or of this actual toy. And I want to clarify a couple of things, or at least clarify one thing. So one of the things that I do want to clarify for, as well as apologize for, is that I wrote in my original video, I did say that the BT21 characters, I did specify them with the terms of he or him. But in reality, when the BTS members came up with their BT21 characters, they actually specified that none of the characters actually have a gender. And you pretty much, usually, I guess you use the terms of they or them for these particular characters. So I do apologize of me saying he or him in my previous videos when it came to describing the BT21 characters. Now, as far as if anyone's coming across this video and they actually have not seen my previous one, the BT21 characters are characters that were pretty much made by the BTS members. There are 7 BTS members, but 8 BT21 characters. So for the BTS characters, or the BT21 characters, you have Koya, who was made by RM, who is the leader of BTS. Then you have RJ, who was made by Jin, and then you have Shuki, who was made by Yoongi or Suga, and then you have Mang, who was made by J-Hope, or his real name is Hosok, and then you have Chimi, who was made by Jimin, and then you have Tata, who was made by V, or his real name is Taehyung, and then the last one you have is Cookie, who is made by Jungkook. So those are all the BT21 characters, and then the last one actually is named Van or Vaughn, and he is basically a representation of ARMY, who is the fandom name for BTS. So you will hear people say I'm part of the BTS ARMY, which basically means they are a part of the fandom. So they released the BT21 Tamagotchi last year, and depending on when you got it, you either got it last year if you, I think, purchased like the Japanese version, but the English version didn't release until the end of February, and I got mine on the 4th of March. Now at this point, like I said, I've been playing with this for about a month now, and I know previously some of the questions that I kind of had before were like, what was the lifespan of this Tamagotchi, and like pretty much like what games can you play to kind of guarantee that you get particular characters. Now I did list before that there was a Wikipedia page that did actually list what care you would have to have for the particular character, as well as what games you had to play to solidify which character you got. And so let me explain a little bit. So when you first went on the Tamagotchi, you play with Van, which is the representation for ARMY, and you have that character for 24 hours. After 24 hours, depending on what games you play, as well as depending on how well you take care of Van, it gives you one of the 7 BT21 characters. So that's pretty much what I mean. And then after 24 hours of caring for the baby BT21 character, it comes into the adult character. Now previously of me playing with Tamagotchi, you usually had the adult character for about 2 to 3 days. Now that was with the On Tamagotchi series, but with this one, I honestly didn't know. So I had the character original, my first character I had was RJ, who was Jin's character. And I had him for 2 or 3 days, and then he was still there. So I didn't know really how long you had the character for. Well, it turns out you have the character for about roughly 2 weeks in its adult form before it decides to either leave and give you a thank you note, or it says bye-bye. And because if you get that ending though, it basically means you didn't take care of the character very well. So now at this point, I'm in my 3rd iteration, or my 3rd character for the BT21, and let me explain how I have been able to get 3 different characters in the BT21 Tamagotchi. So like I mentioned, the first character that I got was RJ, and I pretty much solidified me getting RJ by me playing the cooking game that I showed in the first video, where you just basically mash the A button repeatedly to basically make cookies. So I realized that that was the game that I was the best at, and I realized it was the game that I had the most success at, which kind of solidified me getting RJ as the character. I took care of RJ for 2 weeks, and then after that I got Vaughn again. Now, I did take care of RJ very well in his adult form, so RJ ended up debuting, and I was left with the little thank you note. So for my second iteration around though, I decided to not play the RJ game, because I realized if I play the RJ game and I play it well, I would just end up with RJ again. So the only games I played was a game with Mong, which is where it was a dancing game. I played the game with Tata, where you had the spaceship and you use either the buttons A or B to go right or left to dodge the stars. And I played the picture game, which is where you have to take a picture of the characters of either Koya and Shuki. I think it was Koya or Cookie, together. And it is Chimmy and Shuki together, and you have to take a picture of them when they are basically ready and picture ready to take the picture. And those are the only 3 games that I played. So this time around though, I only played those 3 games, and I actually was pretty well at the picture game, and I took pretty good care of Vaughn. So in that case, I ended up with Chimmy. Chimmy was the second character that I played with, and I played with him for 2 weeks. And then now this is my 3rd iteration going around, and this time I ended up with Tata. So how I ended up with Tata was I still played those same 3 games, mostly because of the fact that the characters for Cookie, Koya, and Shuki are all involved in the same game that had Chimmy in it. So if I still wanted to guarantee to get those characters, I still had to play that game. So I still only played the dancing game and the Tata game as well, with the spaceship, as well as the picture game. And this time around, like I said, I got Tata. And I believe it was because of the fact that with me playing the spaceship game, I was pretty successful with me playing that game. And therefore, I ended up with Tata this time around. Now, at this point, I've had Tata for about almost a week. So I believe next week is when I will start back off again with Vaughn. Now, a few tips I can give you guys is that when the character is in its adult form or baby form, I would suggest playing the RJ game. To me, that's the easiest game to play so that you can get its happiness up faster. And it's the game that to me requires the less amount of attention, because with the Mon game, you have to pay attention to see what letters it is asking you to press. For the Tata game, you have to make sure you're dodging the stars. And for the picture game with the other 4 characters, you basically have to make sure that they are picture ready. But with the RJ game, you just mash a button repeatedly, and at that point, it will make the cookies, and that's basically it, which is why that is the game I mostly play once I already have the character that the game has decided to give me. I also greatly recommend using the food options for the treat or the snack option. And I would say use this if you are somewhere and you need to take care of your Tamagotchi and you're like, well, I can't play a game with it right this minute, but let me just feed it a couple of treats. And usually that will also increase the happiness as well. So far, I don't believe there is an option where the character will get sick if you eat it, if you give it too many treats. Whereas I know with the other Tamagotchis, if you gave a character too many treats, it would get a toothache or it would get sick, and then you would have to heal it. But in this case, you don't really have that option. I usually give about 2 to 3, maybe sometimes 4 treats, and then I will check and see the status of it and see if it is happy. And if it's happy enough, then I pretty much go on about my day. Now, that's some of the answers that I kind of have at this point. Now, as far as my overall review of this Tamagotchi, I still like it. I still enjoy it. I still enjoy playing with it. The one thing I will say that I still don't completely enjoy sometimes is how small it is. I feel like it has caused me to kind of like have that weird panic where I feel like I've lost it or I don't know where it's at because of it being so tiny compared to the Tamagotchi On series that are much bigger. They're about this big. But I will say because it is small, I can fit it in like the small parts of my purse or small parts of my backpack if I am going out and about, or I can easily just stuff this in my pocket if I am, going out and I don't have my jacket, or not jacket, or if I don't have my backpack or my purse with me. So I will say that is kind of like the plus/minus of me having this Tamagotchi. So yeah, that is overall my review. So I thought I would give an update video for this to answer some of the questions that I myself ended up finding out or getting answered. So if you are currently thinking about getting this Tamagotchi, now you know you will have Van for 24 hours, the baby version of the BT21 character also for 24 hours, and then also the adult character for 2 weeks before it finally leaves and you're left with Vaughn again. Now, this isn't to say that during that 2-week period with the adult one that it also can't just leave at any point, because it can if you are taking really bad care of it. So I'm assuming that if you have it for 2 weeks and it leaves of its own accord, then you should get a good ending. I feel like if it leaves before that 2 weeks is up, you're probably gonna get a bad ending. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have. Let me know what you guys think of this. Comment below your thoughts. I do know at this point they have put out pre-orders for the Tiny Tan Tamagotchi, which is pretty much the tiny tan characters of the actual BTS members. That actually comes out, I believe, in October of this year. I have already pre-ordered mine. I pre-ordered the purple version. They have 3 colors: purple, red, and black. The black version you can only pre-order, and it comes with the actual Tiny Tan character that will actually hold the Tamagotchi itself. Like, you can place it on like a desk and it will just hold it there. I decided to go with that one, not to go with that one, because to me that's just extra stuff that I really just don't need. And I know that for that version, it doesn't come out until January of next year of 2023. And I would rather get it in October. And I really like the look of the purple color because purple is associated with BTS. So I went with that. But yeah, that's the video I have for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Links below to all my social media accounts, my Instagram, my Twitter, and of course my TikTok. So please check me out on there. As well as if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and please subscribe if you haven't already. And like I always tell you guys, stay positive, stay nerdy, and today's day and age, stay healthy, and of course, please stay safe. All right, you guys. Bye.